Ladies and gentlemen, blockchain is a global game changer, reshaping finance, data, and trust for everyone. And now, we would love to welcome on the stage a representative from Nasdaq, a seasoned tech expert. Please join me in warmly welcoming on the stage Miss Virginie BarBot, Managing Director, Southeast Asia and Pacific of Nasdaq Financial Technology.
Good morning, Vietnam. I'm sorry I didn't prepare a song today, and I think because I'm a terrible singer, to be honest with you. So today, I first would like to thank our sponsor, SSID and Kairos Venture, for giving me the opportunity to speak with you today. I believe that Nasdaq and SSID have in common the drive to encourage and foster the opportunity for the community to dialogue together. Nasdaq Financial Technology provides solutions for exchange operators, central banks, brokers, and members of the community of financial services. We provide trading, post-trade solution, regulatory reporting solution, risk management, collateral management. All of this to say that we believe that we are part of the fabric of capital markets. So today, I've been asked to talk about the digital asset revolution, and particularly focusing on how technology is changing what we own. I'll be very quick. We have three main topics to discuss. We're going to define what digital assets are, we're going to talk about trust, and then we're going to talk about what the future holds. So, what are digital assets? Well, a digital asset is any content or value stored digitally and owned by an individual or organization. For those who know already, you have to think cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, NFTs, represent digital art or music, tokenized real estate or stocks, or digital IDs and certifications. But here's the catch. What makes them valuable is just not the content, but it is the trust in the record of who owns what. And indeed, ladies and gentlemen, it is all about trust. So now we're going to talk about the trust problem for a minute here. And historically, we always have needed a trusted middleman to verify the value. I'm talking about banks and notaries. So think about if you were to buy a house. You'll need lawyers, you need a land registry, agents, signatures, and banks. And why? Well, because we do not inherently trust each other. We trust the system that is in place. Now, hang on a second here. What if we could build within the system that actual trust? What if every transaction, ownership change, or contract update were transparently recorded, verifiable, and irreversible? And that's really where blockchain comes into play, and that is the trust engine. Imagine a giant spreadsheet that is not stored on one computer, but copied across all of them globally. Now, every time you make a transaction, the update will be written in a spreadsheet, and everybody's copies will be updated. Now, no one person controls the spreadsheet, and everybody can verify the same truth. Now, we like to think of it as a Lego of ownership. So, how do blockchain power digital assets? Well, each entry on the blockchain can represent something valuable, such as a token or a certificate or a contract. And if I send you a Bitcoin, the blockchain updates you to say you own it now. If I mint a digital artwork, such as an NFT, the blockchain proves that I created it and you bought it. If a company tokenizes a property, well, you can own a fraction of that building, and it's verified by blockchain. So no banks, no notaries, no delays. The ownership is programmable, transferable, and transparent. Now, why does it matter? Well, it matters a lot, actually, because it lowers barriers. You do not need a bank account to hold value. It speeds up the transactions. You go literally from months to days to even seconds. And it empowers the creators, the artists, and the musicians and entrepreneurs can directly reach their audiences. Now, it offers new investments as well. We've seen this in real estate, in collectibles, and even loyalty points. All of them can be tokenized. Now, as the technology evolves, we're going to see some digital twins of everything we own, from cars to diplomas, and it's verified and tradable online. Now, I wouldn't do a good job if I didn't talk to you a little bit about risk and misconceptions here. So, as it was alluded by our great host this morning, it is not risk-free. There is a lot of volatility. Crypto markets are notoriously unstable. And there are security problems. If you lose your key, well, you can lose your asset for good. And also there's a lot of fraud. There are scams and there are rogue trades as well, but they're real. And sadly, not all digital assets are legitimate. And there's also a question about regulation. Different countries are grappling with how to regulate it. Now, I would like to do a good job to defend that some regulators have taken a relatively progressive stance, focusing on responsible innovation while protecting the customer. And I think listening to our esteemed speakers, this is exactly what Vietnam is heading. So thank you very much for that. Thank you. And really, to paraphrase as well our famous speakers this morning, it really means for us that we need to be smart customers, not just tech enthusiasts. Now, what does the future hold? Well, just as the internet took decades to evolve from dial-up to streaming, digital assets will mature over time. And we see some very real possibilities that are actually becoming reality for us. So governments are issuing central bank digital currencies. Real estates are being fractionally owned and traded. I've seen this in the US mainly. And startups are even issuing tokens instead of stocks for their employees. And the basic one that I took earlier was the loyalty programs that are using blockchain to make points portable. Now, of course, it's up to us to stay informed because eventually not everybody can actually own a Bitcoin or an NTF. So we all need to understand the shift which is happening around us. And just like we had to learn email, and I'm sorry, I'm old, so I have to reference this, online banking or cloud storage, there is another way of technology that will reshape how we prove, exchange, and protect value. Now, being from the technology side a little bit, I need to talk about processes and technology. And I just gave you a few examples on our progress that we've seen so far in the marketplace. So as digital assets mature, they become more mainstream, and trading is becoming faster. That's also true for traditional exchanges as well, actually. And as the volumes increase, well, human alone cannot monitor all those transactions. And this is where the fostering of transparency is going to be enabled by technology. And at Nasdaq, we believe in a fair and orderly trading and protecting our investors. To attract liquidity, in our experience, you need a well-run and transparent market. That will in turn attract investors and give them the confidence in your market. And we're very lucky that we actually have some guidance already put in place by some of the various team institutions. I've listed some of them here. The Financial Action Task Force, the Financial Stability Board, and obviously IOSCO. And at Nasdaq, we are very committed to supporting a digital assets ecosystem. And I would like to thank everyone for your attention today and lots of encouragement for this fantastic market that there is. Come on, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Virginie BarBot, for all of your insight for sharing. Thank you very much.